Our gospel reading this morning on this Trinity Sunday is taken from the gospel according to John chapter 16 and verses 12 through 15. And as always, listen to what the Spirit might speak into your life from this reading in the gospel of John. Jesus is speaking here, and he says this to his disciples: "I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear to hear them now. When the Spirit of truth comes, the Spirit will guide you into all the truth. For the Spirit will not speak of his own, but will speak whatever he hears, and will declare to you the things that are to come. The Spirit will glorify me, because he will take what is mine and declare it to you. All that the Father has is mine. For this reason I said that he will take what is mine and declare it to you." And now, just for good measure, we're going to read the psalm that we just sang. We're going to read Psalm 8, and our meditation today will be on Psalm 8 because it's a good one. And so again, listen to Psalm 8. "O Lord, our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouths of babes and infants, you have founded a bulwark because of your foes, to silence the enemy and the avenger. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them? Mortals, that you care for them. Yet you have made them a little lower than gods and crowned them with glory and honor. You have given them dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under their feet, all sheep and oxen, also the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the sea. O Lord, our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth." And may God bless to our understanding these readings from God's holy word, and to God's name be glory and praise. Amen. You ever think about that question? With as big as everything is, with as old as everything is, with how few years we get to live on this globe, who are we really? What are we? What is God? Or as the psalmist puts it in the great enormity of it all, what are human beings that you even know we're here with all the other planets out there and all the other stars, and you actually care about us? All of our great venerable store of knowledge fails to answer this old question: what do we really know for sure? Really, what do we know? Are we seen? Are we known? Nothing that we learn about the oceans or the galaxies or the human body or the atom or whatever's smaller than the atom these days. None of our hard-won knowledge begins to answer this eternal question. As our knowledge grows, the questions grow with it. Today we know that the stars are distant suns. When the psalmist first wrote this question, he thought that they were holes punched in God's floor to let some of the glory of the heavenly places come out. But the psalmist concludes, "Yet you have made us a little lower than the gods, and you have crowned us with honor and glory." You know what I just found out? I started on the third page of my sermon. Oh man, we missed the beginning and it was good. Oh, I'm going to go back and start over again. I'm sorry about that. I was going over it, and I got to the fourth or fifth page, and I stopped, and I left it in the order that it was in. Our human limitations terrify us. We hate it that we're not in control. We hate it that stuff just happens. We hate it that we don't know what's coming. It's called finitude, where we meet the limits of what we know and what we can do and what we can be. We hate it that we're not going to live forever. We hate it that we can't make the ones we love live forever. We hate it that we can't control their lives because we could do it better than they're doing it. We could, really. We really could. And not knowing can be one of the scariest things in life. Waiting for the lab tests, that's scary. Waiting for a phone call, that can be scary. Not knowing what that new rattling noise in your car is, that can be scary. But there is a beauty, too, in relinquishing our need to be in control of everything. Letting go of our need to know it all. And embracing and enjoying and being happy in our smallness. There's peace and inspiration in seeing ourselves within the greater context of this majestic creation, just an honored little part where some of God's glory rests, according to the psalm, amid the mystery of it all. And so let us embrace our beloved smallness. I have worked for the church for 30 years, and I have spent much of my life studying the field of knowledge known as divinity. But do I really know anything more now than when I started? For each new bit of knowledge that I've acquired down through the years about the mystery of God has required me to unlearn things that I thought were pretty certain. For each new bit of knowledge I've acquired has forced something else out. For all the things I've learned, I still can't change the oil in my car. And I still do it when the light comes on and not before, and take it to one of those instant places. I don't know just off the top of my head who the 21st president of the United States was. Do you? Thank you. I don't know the difference between a hedge fund and a slush fund. I don't know my times tables. The teacher told me, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket at all times. You need to, yeah. And look, we showed her, didn't we? I have a calculator in my pocket at all times, and I still don't know them. I don't feel a little lower than a god because there's just so much that I don't know and can't do. And to make matters worse, there are things I used to know that I've forgotten, that I don't even know that I forgot. I mean, did you know, for example, that there are 336 dimples on a golf ball? That there are 118 little ridges along the edge of a dime? That Winston Churchill was born in a ladies' room at a dance? Have you ever noticed that in advertisements, the clock in the background is usually set at 10:10? It's just an old advertising tradition. Al Capone's business card said that he was a used furniture dealer. I'm guessing probably locked trunks weighing about 200 pounds. A dragonfly's lifespan is 24 hours. As beautiful as they are, 24 hours. And a goldfish's memory is 3 seconds long. Here's a question. Do you know the names of all 8 of your great-grandparents? All 8. I mean, you know way more than 8 names in your life. You know names of people who matter little to you. These are the people who made you who you are. You don't know their names, do you? Not all of them. You don't know much about them. These people, I know you're thinking now, you're not going to hear anything else I say. Do you know your neighbor 4 doors down and across the street or the hall? What does your dog dream about? You know that animal. You know how that animal is going to react under any set of circumstances. Do you know what they're thinking when they yelp in their sleep? We don't know. We don't know about our dog's dreams. We know how to get to the grocery store and the gas station, work, but we don't know all that much about the machines that get us there, or the economic factors that drive our purchases. We know how to do our jobs and our toiletries and our cooking, but most of us, not all of us, most of us don't know much about the chemical workings of our medications. We just know the doctor said, take this. Knowledge is precious, and education is too. But it's all a narrow path of knowing, within a vast forest of not knowing. Islands of knowledge within a huge ocean of unknowing. Many years ago, I think it's time to tell this story. It's been a long time ago. Many years ago, as our Haiti travel team was out and about in the mountainous countryside of Haiti, Durandalise kept asking about a certain hotel with a French name that she called Hotel Le Cul. Now, if you know what that means, congratulations. As soon as I heard the name Hotel Le Cul, I looked at our Haitian driver. They don't speak French real well, but most of them know enough to know what that word means. And he looked like he was trying not to laugh at the thought of a Hotel Le Cul. Surely no one would name a place of business Hotel Le Cul. And he respectfully agreed that he had never heard of such a place. Later, another member of our team got in the car, and we were again looking for the elusive Hotel Le Cul. And this person, I think it was Pat Jacobs, said, no, it's Hotel Le Recul. Recul. And suddenly it all made sense. Recul means retrospect or retreat. Cul is a word for something that I cannot say here, even from this low pulpit. It's a slang word for a body part, which really made that hotel sound disrespectable. The not knowing. One syllable. You miss one syllable. And it can make an entire difference, a huge difference. The psalmist of old, that ancient poet, perhaps on a night when they're unable to sleep, gazes out at the starlit heavens and the vastness of creation, the unsearchable distances between the lights in the night sky, and in a state of wonder whispers that age-old question, which you have asked yourself at some point: what makes me think I matter? What makes me think anybody out there knows that I'm even here? In all the bigness, in all this distance, in all the centuries of time, what makes me think I matter at all? Am I known to someone? In the great enormity of it all, what are human beings that you, O God, are mindful of them and that you care for them? And now we're back to the page that I started on. But the psalmist concludes, you have made us a little lower than gods. And here, of course, gods and God is the same word in Hebrew, because Elohim, the plural, is used for the singular God, which is interesting on Trinity Sunday. You have made them a little lower than gods, or God, and crowned them with honor and glory. And that answer is good enough. We've been invited to be a part of the glory and the honor and the beauty of all that is. A little lower than gods in all our unknowing. Infinitesimal. I practiced that word. Infinitesimal, but cherished. And very much a part of the unimaginably tremendous whole. Can you find comfort in being small? Can you find comfort in being small? Well, speaking of the unknown, as I said earlier, today is a mostly unknown holiday called Trinity Sunday. Only novice preachers would get up here and preach a sermon about the Trinity on Trinity Sunday. And I say that because when I was a novice preacher, I got about 3 minutes into that sermon and realized that I had made a big mistake. Maybe make it a subject for the adult class, but the Trinity's way too big for a single sermon. Maybe just have the humility that you don't quite get it and sit back down. Besides, a question far more pressing on most people's minds is not the Trinity. It's, do I matter? It's what does matter. It's who is God and who am I? What are human beings that you are mindful of them? And mortals that you care for them. Staring out at the night sky, that long ago psalmist was asking the question that people still ask. Who and what is God? And if you're not a person of faith, replace the word God with the word reality with a capital R. What is reality? What's real? Who is God and who am I? John Calvin believed that all of human knowledge, all art and all history and all science and all math, all human knowledge is just the quest to answer two questions. Who is God and who am I? Who is God? Who am I? The former Librarian of Congress, Daniel Boorstin, was a historian. And like most people who are interested in history, you also have to be kind of a philosopher to be a historian, and he was. He said this is a quote in the end. "The world has suffered far less from ignorance than from pretensions to knowledge." The world has suffered far less from ignorance than from pretensions to knowledge. It is not the skeptics and explorers, but the fanatics and the ideologues who menace decency and progress. End quote. Boorstin goes on to name the things in life that he considers real islands of knowledge in a sea of unknowing, and they must be treated with the profoundest humility. He says this, he starts with this. He says that for life to be meaningful, a person needs to invest part of themselves in an institution. Have you ever heard such an argument? That you need to be invested in a collective. It could be a museum, it could be a university, it could be a library, it could be a center for the arts, it could be a church, it could be a synagogue. You have to invest a part of yourself into one of those places in the world where people come together to think about beautiful things and meaningful things. A museum, a university, a library, a center for the arts, a church, a synagogue. Boorstin names science as an island of knowledge if it's used carefully and treated with respect and with an openness to unlearn the things that we have learned. He names art and literature insofar as they tug at those chords in the heart that nothing else tugs at. He names love and family and community because these things all make us better than we can ever be by ourselves. Boorstin was a semi-secular Jew, and yet he names religion as an island of knowledge because religion, if its certainties be few and modest, is a place where people are encouraged to think, to ponder their place in the universe, their place in the world, their responsibilities toward each other, the bigness of everything, the deeper questions of life. Faith, too, is a life-giving quest into the mystery and the splendor of God. Faith, the healthy kind, enables people to ask questions like the one the psalmist is asking. Faith, when it's doing its job, just doesn't offer all the answers. It shouldn't. But it fills us with wonder and makes us to know deep within ourselves that we are indeed, somehow, God's agents in a troubled and wondrous world. That we're not the worthless worms that some of our Lenten hymns call us, but that we are a little lower than gods. Faith is at its best when it causes us to gaze up at the stars in wonder and in awe, to experience God as both mystery and friend. Mystery and friend. Then it draws us into God's great work of redemption, naming us as agents of reconciliation in the vast, unknowable plan. There's comfort in not knowing. There's comfort in not being all-knowing. There's comfort in not being all-powerful, in not being eternal. There's real and healing power in embracing our finitude, our limits, our limitations, and glorying in our beloved smallness. So there's an influencer on Instagram who looks at the camera and she's got a pot boiling over in the background, she's got a baby crying, and she's got a stack of bills on the table. And she looks at the camera and says, "Why don't I worry about my problems?" And she smiles. and the camera zooms out above her house and you see her street. Then it goes further and you see her town. Then it goes further and you see the country that she lives in. It goes further, you see the whole hemisphere. It goes further, you see the globe. It goes further, all you see is the sun, and then it disappears among all the other suns out there. What she's saying is, because it doesn't matter all that much, does it? In the big scheme of things, the bills, the pot that's boiling over, doesn't matter all that much. It was that grizzled old warhorse, Donald Rumsfeld, who said, and you probably know this quote, he said, "As we know, there are known knowns. Things that we know, we know. We also know that there are unknown knowns. That is to say, we know that there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The things that we don't know, we don't know." I mean, we used to know that bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly, and now they're like, oh yeah, we figured that out. They're perfectly aerodynamic. We used to know that going out in the cold weather without a coat would get you sick. And now we know that cold exposure is actually good for you. It might bring down swelling. We used to know that it was dangerous to waken a sleepwalker. Now we're like, no, do it. Wake him up. Send him back to bed. In the life of faith, we embrace a handful of certainties, but mostly our calling is to mystery and to wonder and to know our place in the bigness of it all and to be happy, to find joy in being who we are with glory and honor from our Creator. The best posture for a life of faith is the one the psalmist takes, staring out at the brilliance of the created order and marveling to know that I am privileged to be part of this, part of the plan, invited to the party. As that knowledgeable man Albert Einstein said, there is nothing more beautiful than the mystery of things. That'd make a good tattoo. There is nothing more beautiful than the mystery of things. It's a healing thing to put yourself in mystery's way, to embrace the not knowing, and to lose yourself in wonder, in awe. When I look at the heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars, what are we? Who am I that you know us, that you care for me? Yet you have made us a little lower than gods and crowned us with glory and honor. You are crowned with glory and honor. You in your smallness, you in your not knowing. Allow God the tasks that fall to divinity, to God, and simply find joy in having been invited to the party, the big, endless party of the living. You cannot do it all. You cannot fix it all. You cannot know it all. You can't. Thank God you can't. Now find rest in your beloved smallness. Amen.